So this is a game that I had on the Object 140, the Tier 10 Russian medium on South Coast. This is the northern spawn, and so a lot of times the way this map plays out is that tend to get a lot of campers over in this area here and in this area over here, and so it's a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to get your team to break out, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to move up into this area over here and try to see what they send in the middle. That becomes pretty important in the mid game, because when you're pushing along either side, it's interesting to know how many tanks are in there. And then you can go into really any of these bushes up here. And then what you'll notice is that, so when I do spot somebody, depending on what their path is like there's an Indian Panther, Panzer that comes through here. And I'll use this bush that's by this tree basically as cover to shoot at him as he goes by. So I know that they sent an Indian there, they have a T-54 on the other side. And you see that our dispersion is pretty standard. We've got not too many guys up here, which is actually probably good news. We sent a WZ-131 down this 8th line, so he's spotting more of their guys, but he's put himself into a rather perilous position and got himself killed. We have two 10s on the west, one 9 on that side. We've got a 9 and, I'm sorry, two 9s and an 8 over here. And so I'm going to head over, or actually I think it's 3 9s. Yeah, sorry, 3 9s. And they're going to go up in here. Now, going up in here is okay. It's not really that great of a spot. What you should actually do is go over to this E0 area that I'm going to show you in a minute. You'll get much better shots. You're more open. You don't want to go there in less mobile tanks, like really slow tanks, particularly if they have a lot of arty, because you can get arty. But if you are in a medium or a fast heavy, it's a good place to go. And I'm going to start shooting down some of this cover because I don't want this WZ-131 to interfere with me, so I don't want him, if I run up there, I don't want him to be able to duck down behind cover. And then I noticed that he bailed out. He spotted me as he left. So now I know that he backed off, which is fine. I know that they have at least half of their team on this side, which means there's probably a little bit more. So I'm going to pull forward and then see what I can see. I do know that they have at least the Indian Panzer down there. And then these guys, you'll notice they're still sort of stuck back there. And they're not really getting themselves into a place where they can get shots very easily. They have a Centurion 7-1 up there, but after I get done tracking him several times, I will actually kill him. And in that meantime, that WZ-131 that I shot as he went across continued pushing up that 8 line and just basically got himself killed. It looks like we're challenging a little bit on the west, and they don't really have that many tanks there, so we should be okay there. So I'm going to probe up here some more just to see what I can see. And what I've noticed is that our T-54, oh no, sorry, it was a Centurion, slid down here, and he's going to be pushing forward. And then so as this Centurion passes through this lane, I'm going to get shots on this Indian Panzer, so I'm going to start aiming already. And I will also zero damage this guy. And then this is going to this position gets you great shots on the middle, and then so a lot of times what will happen is if you have a proxy spotter up here along this ridge, you can just rail those guys in the middle before they can really do anything. And then see, these guys finally came out of over here, except instead of going up here with me, they take this lower road, which is going to expose them to more lanes of fire. But nothing I can do to control that, so they're going to light these guys, so I'm just going to wait here. I do know that they have a lot back here, right? And we know that the T-54 E1 is somewhere over here as well. So we know that they have, what, it was like 2 9s, a 10, and an 8 back here. And so this T-54A1 will spot that line in a second. And then I just get basically a lot of free turret shots on these guys. And notice how our dudes are like going in here one at a time. The Centurion 7-1 went in there, he got shot up by these guys. The T-54A1 went up there, he got shot up by these guys. Now our STI is going up in there. And you can just guess what's gonna happen. But I think, and then at this point, see how this 4502B has moved forward? That's going to allow me an opportunity to push up here to get shots on the back of the E4. Okay, now he's moving forward. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward in anticipation of not being in that 4502B's line of fire. I sort of miscalculated where he was there. And then I turned to get the E4, but the E4 was already down, so fabulous. And then it turns out this T-54A1 has the T-69 cannon. And then it's pretty much just mop up. They have their GW Tiger right about there. Now I can actually shoot him through these two rocks, but I already had a head of steam, and so I wanted to go through. Like, that would be an easy shot for me to make and a difficult shot for him. And then their JT is charging down at our T-54, and so this will be an easy flank. And then, so anyways, I guess my point is that, you know, a lot of people get stuck up in this area over here, where a lot of times you should, if you move up to this easy area, especially if you have any fire support at all, you can usually do a lot of damage on this map. And that's just one way that you can push. There's actually a lot of different avenues on this map that you can play, so don't feel sort of like, I think people tend to camp a little bit too much in this area, and the same thing on the other side. Like they'll tend to camp in this area over here. You don't really see as much camping from the south spawn in that middle area there. Just the terrain doesn't really favor it that much, but you can push in a lot of different avenues of the map, and that's just one of them. And I think that this zero line push is really underused a lot. Like, you know, those guys, that STI T-54, they had an opportunity to come up here, which would have given them better shots from the guys lighting down below, but they chose to drive basically into a crossfire, semi-crossfire, and that's sort of that's going to make their lives difficult. Anyways, so that's my sort of short little critique on South Coast, and I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.